My friend, let me ask you something personal. How many times did you get up last night? 3 times? 4? Maybe you've stopped counting because it's become your new normal. That constant pressure sitting heavy in your lower belly. Those exhausting midnight marathons to the bathroom. That frustrating weak stream that makes you wonder if this is just what getting older means. What if I told you it doesn't have to be this way? What if there's a simple, natural solution sitting right there in your local grocery store that could start shrinking your swollen prostate in less than 24 hours? Not another expensive pill with a list of side effects longer than your arm. Not another uncomfortable procedure that makes you question if the cure is worse than the disease. I'm talking about something your grandmother probably kept in her kitchen. Something you've enjoyed countless times without knowing it held the key to reclaiming your nights, your energy, and frankly, your dignity as a man. My name is Dr. James Mitchell. For over 3 decades, I've been blessed to serve as a professor of urology and men's health specialist. I've sat across from thousands of men just like you, accomplished men in their 60s, 70s, even their 90s, and I've watched them transform their lives. Not through complicated medical procedures, but through wisdom that Big Pharma doesn't want you to know about. You see, there's a particular fruit that doesn't just help your prostate. It supports your heart, sharpens your mind, and improves your circulation in ways that affect every aspect of being a man. The medical research confirms it. The problem? Nobody can make billions patenting an apple or an orange. So this knowledge stays buried in medical journals while you suffer in silence. Today, that changes. I'm going to share 5 remarkable fruits that can protect and restore your prostate health, including the one that I've personally witnessed work in under 24 hours for men who thought they'd tried everything. But here's what's crucial. It's not just about eating these fruits. It's about knowing exactly how and when to eat them for maximum impact. The timing and combinations matter more than you might think. Before we dive in, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. You've earned the right to take control of your health, and I want to make sure you get every piece of wisdom I share from Health Wisdom. And after you've tried what I'm about to reveal, come back and type 1 in the comments if it helped you, or 0 if you need more guidance. I read every single comment because your success is my mission. Now, let's talk about the first fruit. One you've probably enjoyed since childhood, never knowing it was quietly fighting for your prostate health all along. 1. Citrus fruits. Your morning miracle workers. Picture this. It's early morning, maybe 5 or 6 a.m. You're in your kitchen and the house is quiet. You slice into a fresh orange, and that bright, clean scent fills the air. Takes you back, doesn't it? Maybe to breakfasts with your father, or those orange slices at your kids' soccer games years ago. That simple orange isn't just nostalgia. It's medicine that most doctors never mention. You know, I had a patient, let's call him George, who reminded me of so many of you. Successful businessman, grandfather of 6, the kind of man who built his life on hard work and determination. But at 68, George was defeated. He told me, "Doc, I haven't slept through the night in 3 years. My wife and I sleep in separate beds now because I'm up and down so much. I feel like half the man I used to be." George thought citrus was just vitamin C for cold season. When I explained what it could do for his prostate, he looked at me like I'd suggested he dance naked under the full moon. But here's what's really happening inside that orange, lemon, or grapefruit. These fruits contain powerful compounds called bioflavonoids, specifically hesperidin and naringin. Think of these as your prostate's personal firefighters. You see, inside your prostate right now, there's likely a slow-burning fire of inflammation. It's been smoldering for years, making the tissue swell, pressing on your urethra, creating that maddening urge to go even when there's barely anything there. These bioflavonoids rush in and douse those flames. They calm the angry, swollen tissue and help it return to its normal size. It's like finally taking the pressure off a kinked garden hose. Suddenly, everything flows the way it should. But here's what really got George's attention. Vitamin C in citrus doesn't just boost your immune system. For men our age, it does something far more important. It strengthens and maintains flexibility in your blood vessels. Why does that matter? Because when those vessels in your pelvic area get stiff and narrow, which happens naturally as we age, they create a traffic jam of pressure right against your prostate. It's like having a crowd pushing against a door you're trying to open. The vitamin C helps those vessels stay flexible and open, relieving that constant pressure. George started with something almost embarrassingly simple. Every morning, before his coffee, before checking the news, he'd squeeze half a lemon into a glass of warm water. That's it. No pills, no complicated routine. 2 weeks later, he called me. "I slept until 4:30 this morning," he said. I could hear the disbelief in his voice. First time in years, I got more than 3 hours straight. By the end of the month, George was down to 1 bathroom trip per night. He'd moved back into the bedroom with his wife. He'd returned to his Saturday morning golf group, something he'd quit because he was too exhausted and worried about finding bathrooms on the course. There's another secret about citrus that most men never learn. It boosts your body's production of nitric oxide. Now, that might sound like chemistry class, but here's what it means for you. Nitric oxide is what makes your blood vessels relax and widen. Better blood flow everywhere. Your brain stays sharper. Your heart works easier. And yes, other aspects of being a man improve too. The ones we don't always talk about at the coffee shop, but that matter deeply to who we are. The Romans knew this. Caesar's soldiers carried lemon-infused water on their campaigns. Mediterranean fishermen have started their days with citrus for centuries, staying strong and vital well into their later years. They didn't have the science, but they had the results. Here's how to make citrus work for you, starting tomorrow morning. Wake up, and before you do anything else, warm up 8 ounces of water. Not boiling, just warm. Squeeze in half a lemon. Sip it slowly, like you're savoring good whiskey. Let it wake up your system gently. If the acid bothers you at first, start with just a quarter lemon and build up. Always rinse your mouth with plain water afterward to protect your teeth. As the day goes on, add orange slices to your lunch. Squeeze lime over your fish at dinner. Keep it simple. Keep it consistent. These aren't dramatic gestures. They're small, daily investments in your freedom. What I love about recommending citrus is that it's not asking you to change who you are. You don't need to become some health fanatic. You're just adding something pleasant and familiar to your day. Something that happens to be remarkably powerful medicine hiding in plain sight. But citrus is just the beginning. It's preparing your body for what comes next. Think of it as clearing the road before a journey. Once your inflammation starts calming and your circulation improves, other nutrients can get where they need to go more effectively. Which brings me to a fruit that most men overlook entirely. It's small, green, and fuzzy on the outside. You might have tried it once at a hotel breakfast buffet and forgotten about it. But inside that unusual exterior is an enzyme that can attack your prostate problems from a completely different angle. One that might surprise you. 2. Kiwi, the overlooked prostate protector. Let me tell you about Michael. 71 years old, retired firefighter, the kind of man who'd run into burning buildings without hesitation. But prostate problems had done what 30 years of dangerous work couldn't. They'd broken his spirit. "Doc," he said during his first visit, "I used to be the guy others counted on. Now I can't even count on my own body. Fishing with my grandson used to be our thing. Last time, I spent more time finding bushes than catching fish." The boy asked if I was okay. How do you explain this to a 10-year-old? Michael had tried medications. They helped some, but left him dizzy and foggy-headed. "I'm tired of trading one problem for another," he told me. I want my life back, not a different set of problems. That's when I suggested something that made him look at me sideways. Kiwi fruit. Now, I know what you're thinking. That fuzzy little fruit from the grocery store? The one that looks like it belongs in some fancy health food store? Stay with me here, because what's inside that humble kiwi might be the missing piece you've been searching for. First, let's talk about vitamin C again. But kiwi takes it to another level. One kiwi has more vitamin C than an orange, but it's not working alone. Kiwi delivers a team of inflammation fighters, vitamin E, potassium, and special compounds called polyphenols. Think of it as sending in the special forces instead of just the regular army. But here's what makes kiwi truly unique for men like us. It contains an enzyme called actinidin. Now, you might wonder what digestion has to do with your prostate. Everything, as it turns out. Here's what's likely happening in your body right now. Poor digestion allows toxins to leak from your gut into your bloodstream. It's like having a garbage truck with a hole in it, spreading trash throughout your neighborhood. These toxins trigger inflammation everywhere, including your prostate. That enzyme in kiwi, actinidin, helps seal those leaks and clean up the mess. Research from major medical centers shows that regular kiwi consumption lowers two critical markers of inflammation: C-reactive protein and interleukin-6. These aren't just medical terms. They're the troublemakers, keeping your prostate swollen and angry. Lowering them is like finally turning off an alarm that's been blaring for years. Michael was skeptical, but desperate enough to try. Every morning, he'd eat one kiwi on an empty stomach, when his body could absorb the nutrients best. Some days, he'd slice it and eat it with a spoon, like his grandmother used to eat grapefruit. Other days, he'd blend it into a simple smoothie. 3 weeks later, Michael was back in my office, but this time, he was smiling. "I took my grandson fishing last weekend," he said. "Stayed out on the water 4 hours. Only had to come in once. The boy caught his first base, and I was there for it, really there, not distracted by my body failing me." Here's something else remarkable about kiwi. It helps you sleep better. It contains natural compounds that support serotonin production. Deep, restorative sleep isn't just about feeling rested. It's when your body repairs tissue, balances hormones, and resets inflammation. For men dealing with prostate issues, better sleep means better healing. The potassium in kiwi also supports your heart, keeping blood pressure in check. And for those of you dealing with breathing issues, maybe some mild asthma or seasonal allergies, kiwi helps calm the airways. Everything in your body is connected. When one system improves, others follow. Adding kiwi to your routine couldn't be simpler. Buy them slightly firm and let them ripen on your counter, just like you would avocados. When they give slightly to pressure, they're ready. Eat one each morning, preferably before breakfast, when your stomach is empty and ready to absorb nutrients. If the fuzzy skin bothers you, peel it. But know this, that skin contains valuable fiber and antioxidants. If you can handle it, wash it well and eat the whole thing. The skin is completely edible and packed with benefits. Some men tell me they blend kiwi with their morning citrus water for a double dose of prostate protection. Others add it to a smoothie with some Greek yogurt and a handful of berries. Find what works for you and stick with it. What I appreciate most about kiwi is how gentle yet effective it is. No side effects, no interactions with medications, no complicated timing. Just simple, consistent nutrition that builds results day by day. Michael now buys kiwis by the dozen. His wife jokes that their kitchen looks like a tropical fruit stand. But she's not really complaining. She has her husband back. The man who was defeated by his body is back to being the rock his family depends on. When you combine kiwi's digestive support and anti-inflammatory power with the circulation boost from citrus, you're creating an environment where your prostate can actually heal. But there's another fruit that addresses something we haven't talked about yet: the exhaustion that comes from never getting proper rest. This next fruit doesn't just help your prostate, it helps you reclaim your nights. And when you're finally sleeping soundly again, everything else in your life improves. 3. Cherries, your ticket to peaceful nights. Richard walked into my office, looking like he'd aged 10 years in the past 2. 74 years old, retired engineer, the kind of precise, analytical man who'd built bridges and solved complex problems his whole career. But he couldn't solve this one. "Doctor, I haven't slept more than 2 hours straight in years," he said, his voice flat with exhaustion. "My brain feels like it's swimming in molasses. I can't think clearly. My wife says I'm irritable all the time. This isn't who I am." Richard's description hit me hard, because I hear it so often. The prostate doesn't just steal your nights. It steals your days too. When you're running on empty, everything suffers. Your mood, your relationships, your ability to enjoy life. When I mentioned tart cherries, Richard actually laughed. "Cherries? You want me to eat cherries for my prostate?" But the exhaustion in his eyes told me he'd try anything. Let me explain why cherries aren't just a summer treat. They're one of nature's most powerful weapons against prostate inflammation and sleep disruption. Cherries, especially tart cherries, contain compounds called anthocyanins. These are the pigments that give cherries their deep, rich color, but they're so much more than natural dye. Anthocyanins specifically target something called the COX-2 enzyme. Think of COX-2 as the foreman at an inflammation factory in your body. When it's working overtime, which it probably is right now, it keeps producing swelling and irritation in your prostate tissue. This swelling presses on your urethra like a vice, making every bathroom trip an ordeal. Cherries naturally dial down COX-2 activity. It's like finally convincing that foreman to take a break. The inflammation factory slows down, the swelling eases, and suddenly you can urinate without feeling like you're trying to squeeze water through a coffee stirrer. But here's what made Richard sit up and pay attention. Cherries are one of the only natural sources of melatonin precursors. Your body uses these to regulate your sleep-wake cycle. As we age, our natural melatonin production drops off a cliff. Add in the constant sleep interruptions from prostate issues, and you've got a perfect storm of exhaustion. Richard started with a simple routine: 8 ounces of tart cherry juice with his breakfast. Not the sugary cocktail juice. The real stuff, unsweetened and potent. 10 days later, he called me. "Last night I slept from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. without waking up," he said. I could hear the amazement in his voice. 5 straight hours. I'd forgotten what that felt like. By the end of 3 weeks, Richard was down to 1 or 2 bathroom trips per night instead of 5 or 6. But more importantly, he was falling back asleep quickly when he did wake up. His body was remembering how to rest. "My wife says I'm like a different person," he told me at his follow-up. "I'm joking again. I have patience. I fixed the garage door I'd been putting off for months. I feel like myself again." There's another benefit of cherries that men don't always want to discuss, but matters tremendously: improved circulation. Cherries help keep blood vessels flexible and responsive. Better circulation in the pelvic region doesn't just help with urination. It helps with all aspects of male function. The confidence that comes from knowing your body still works the way it should is priceless. Cherries also have a gentle diuretic effect, but unlike prescription diuretics that can leave you dehydrated and depleted, cherries help flush excess fluids while maintaining your mineral balance. For older men, this is crucial. We can't afford to lose essential minerals like potassium and magnesium. Here's how to make cherries work for you. Fresh cherries in season are wonderful. Buy them ripe, remove the pits, and enjoy a cup with your lunch or as an afternoon snack. But let's be practical. Fresh cherries aren't always available or affordable. Frozen cherries are your friend. They're picked at peak ripeness and flash frozen, locking in their nutrients. Add them to your morning smoothie or thaw them for an evening treat. tart cherry juice is perhaps the most convenient option. Look for 100% juice, not cocktail blends loaded with sugar. Start with 4 ounces in the morning, work up to 8 ounces if your stomach handles it well. Some men prefer to split it, half in the morning, half in the evening about an hour before bed. If you're concerned about sugar, remember that tart cherries are naturally lower in sugar than sweet varieties, and the benefits far outweigh the small amount of natural fruit sugar you're consuming. What amazes me most about cherries is how quickly men notice the difference. While everyone responds differently, I've had patients report better sleep within days. And when you're finally sleeping properly, everything else starts to improve. Your energy returns, your mood lifts, your body has time to heal. Richard now keeps cherry juice in his refrigerator like other men keep beer. "It's my secret weapon," he says. He's back to his workshop, building furniture for his grandkids. He and his wife are planning a trip to Europe, something they'd written off because he couldn't imagine dealing with his prostate issues while traveling. Cherries gave Richard his nights back, and when you own your nights, you own your days too. But powerful as cherries are, there's a whole family of fruits that take prostate protection to an even higher level. These small, colorful gems don't just reduce inflammation. They build a fortress around your prostate, protecting it from the daily assault of aging and oxidative stress. 4. Berries, your daily defenders. Picture your grandmother's kitchen table on a Sunday morning. Maybe there was a bowl of fresh blueberries or raspberries from the garden. The purple stains on your fingers, that burst of sweet tart flavor. Simple pleasures from a simpler time. What you didn't know then, what most men still don't know, is that those berries were quietly protecting you in ways science is only now beginning to understand. Let me tell you about David. 72 years old, Korean War veteran, tough as nails on the outside, but struggling silently with constant urgency and fatigue. "Doc," he said, "I feel like I'm under siege by my own body. Always on guard, always planning around bathrooms. This isn't living." David had tried everything conventional medicine offered. Some things helped a little, nothing helped enough. When I suggested he start eating berries daily, he gave me that look, the one that says, "I didn't survive a war to be saved by blueberries." But here's what David didn't understand. His prostate was indeed under siege. Every day, free radicals, think of them as cellular vandals, attack your prostate tissue. They damage cells, trigger inflammation, and accelerate aging. Your prostate swells not just from normal aging, but from this constant, invisible assault. Berries are nature's elite security force against these attacks. They're packed with antioxidants, particularly anthocyanins and polyphenols, that neutralize free radicals before they can do damage. It's like having a 24/7 protection detail for your prostate. Each berry brings its own special forces to the fight. Blueberries, those little blue powerhouses, boost nitric oxide production. Remember that compound from citrus? Blueberries take it further, improving blood flow throughout your pelvic region. Better blood flow means healthier tissue, easier urination, and yes, better performance in all aspects of being a man. Strawberries contain something called ellagic acid. This compound helps regulate cell growth in the prostate. Think of it as quality control, making sure cells behave properly instead of growing wild and causing problems. Raspberries are loaded with ketones, not the diet fad kind, but natural compounds that reduce inflammation throughout your body. They're like a gentle, constant anti-inflammatory medicine without any side effects. Blackberries, often overlooked, provide tannins that strengthen the connective tissue in your pelvic floor. This is the hammock of muscles that supports your bladder and prostate. When it's strong and flexible, everything works better. David started simple: a cup of mixed berries with his breakfast. Blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries. Sometimes fresh, often frozen. Frozen berries retain virtually all their nutrition and are available year-round. 2 weeks later, he was back in my office. And something had changed. His posture was straighter, his eyes clearer. "The urgency has backed off," he said. "I'm not constantly thinking about it anymore, and my mind feels sharper, like someone cleaned the windshield." That mental clarity wasn't coincidence. The same compounds protecting David's prostate were also protecting his brain. Berries improve cognitive function, protect against memory loss, and help maintain mental sharpness. For men our age, keeping our minds clear is just as important as keeping our bodies strong. Berries also help regulate blood sugar, preventing the spikes and crashes that leave you exhausted by afternoon. Stable blood sugar means stable energy, less inflammation, and better overall health. They support heart health by improving blood vessel flexibility and reducing blood pressure. David discovered something else. Berries helped his digestion. The fiber and natural compounds improved his gut health, which in turn reduced overall inflammation. Remember, everything in your body is connected. When your gut is healthy, your prostate benefits. Here's how to make berries your daily defenders. Aim for 1 cup daily, about a handful. Mix different types for maximum benefit. Fresh berries in season are wonderful, but don't overlook frozen. They're often more nutritious than fresh berries that have traveled thousands of miles. Add them to your morning oatmeal or yogurt. Blend them into a smoothie with some kiwi and a splash of cherry juice. Keep a bowl in the fridge for easy snacking. Some men make a berry water by adding berries to their water bottle and sipping throughout the day. If you're watching your blood sugar, berries are among the lowest sugar fruits. Their fiber content slows sugar absorption, preventing spikes. The benefits far outweigh any concerns about their natural sugar content. David now jokes that he's become a berry evangelist. He brings them to his veterans breakfast group, sharing what he's learned. "These young kids today with their supplements and protein shakes," he says. "We've got something better. Stuff that actually works and tastes good too." 6 months later, David's transformation was remarkable. The constant urgency had faded to occasional mild pressure. His energy had returned. He was sleeping better, thinking clearer, and had rejoined his bowling league, something he'd quit because he couldn't make it through a game without multiple bathroom breaks. But there's something about the confident way he walks now, the ease in his movements, that tells the real story. He's not fighting his body anymore. They're on the same team again. Yet as powerful as all these fruits are, there's one that stands head and shoulders above the rest. One that I've seen work faster than anything else, sometimes in less than 24 hours. It's probably sitting in your grocery store right now, waiting to change your life. 5. Watermelon, the 18-hour miracle. Thomas sat across from me, frustrated and exhausted. 68 years old, retired airline pilot, a man who'd spent his life in complete control of powerful machines. But he couldn't control his own body anymore. "Doctor, I've tried everything," he said. "Pills that make me dizzy, supplements that do nothing, procedures I'd rather forget. I'm at the end of my rope. My wife and I were planning a cross-country RV trip for our retirement. Now I map out bathroom stops instead of scenic routes." When I told Thomas about watermelon, he actually chuckled. Watermelon? Like what we ate at picnics as kids? Exactly like that. But what Thomas and most men don't realize is that watermelon contains one of nature's most powerful prostate healers, lycopene. You might have heard of lycopene in tomatoes, but watermelon has it in abundance, and in a form your body can use immediately. Lycopene is the pigment that gives watermelon its red color, but it's so much more than natural coloring. When lycopene enters your system, it makes a beeline for your prostate. It accumulates there, building up a reservoir of protection. Think of it as your prostate's personal bodyguard, one that works around the clock to reduce inflammation and protect healthy cells. But here's what makes watermelon special. It's over 90% water. This isn't just hydration, it's therapeutic flushing. That water gently cleanses your urinary tract, washing away irritants, while the lycopene goes to work on inflammation. It's like getting an internal shower and medicine at the same time. I told Thomas to try something specific. Every morning, eat 2 to 3 cups of fresh watermelon, with a small handful of almonds or walnuts. The healthy fats in the nuts triple your body's ability to absorb lycopene. It's a combination that turns good medicine into great medicine. Thomas was skeptical but desperate. He went home, bought a watermelon, and started the next morning. That evening, he called me. "Doc, I don't know if this is possible, but I feel different already. The pressure feels lighter. Is that in my head?" It wasn't in his head. I've seen this happen dozens of times. Watermelon can work that fast. By day 3, Thomas reported sleeping through the night until 4 a.m. The first time in 2 years he'd gotten 6 straight hours of sleep. By the end of the week, his bathroom trips had dropped from 8 or 9 times a day to 4 or 5. The weak, frustrating stream had gained strength. "I feel like someone turned back the clock," he told me at his 2-week follow-up. "Not to my 20s, but to my 50s. That's good enough for me." But here's something Thomas discovered that he hadn't expected. His overall energy improved dramatically. The constant inflammation hadn't just been affecting his prostate, it had been draining his entire system. As the inflammation cooled, his energy returned. There was another change, too, one Thomas mentioned quietly with a slight smile. "Other things are working better, too, if you know what I mean." I knew exactly what he meant. When inflammation decreases and blood flow improves in the pelvic region, everything benefits. The confidence that comes from knowing you're still fully functional as a man, that's not something you can put a price on. The science backs this up. Studies show that lycopene not only reduces prostate inflammation, but may also protect against more serious prostate issues. It improves cardiovascular health, supports healthy blood pressure, and even helps with muscle recovery after exercise. Here's your watermelon prescription. Choose a ripe watermelon. It should feel heavy for its size and have a creamy yellow spot where it sat on the ground. That yellow spot is your ripeness indicator. Cut it into cubes and store them in the refrigerator. Every morning, eat 2 to 3 cups. If cold bothers your stomach, let it sit at room temperature for 15 minutes first. Always pair it with a healthy fat, a handful of nuts, a spoonful of ground flaxseed, or even a small piece of cheese. This combination maximizes lycopene absorption. Some men blend watermelon into a morning smoothie with a tablespoon of olive oil. Others make a salad with watermelon, feta cheese, and mint. Find what you enjoy. When medicine tastes this good, it's easy to be consistent. Timing matters. Eat watermelon in the morning, when your body is most ready to absorb nutrients. If you can, have some more in the afternoon. Consistency is key. Daily consumption builds up that protective reservoir of lycopene in your prostate. Thomas and his wife did take that RV trip. 3 months ago, I couldn't imagine being away from a bathroom for an hour, he told me. Last week, we drove 6 hours through Monument Valley, stopped twice, once for lunch, once for photos. I wasn't even thinking about my prostate. He sends me postcards now from their travels. The latest one simply said, "Who knew retirement could actually feel this good? Thank you for the watermelon prescription." Your new chapter begins tomorrow morning. Gentlemen, we've covered a lot of ground together. 5 fruits that can transform your prostate health, your sleep, your energy, and honestly, your entire outlook on these golden years. Citrus to reduce inflammation and improve circulation. Kiwi to support digestion and provide powerful antioxidants. Cherries to restore peaceful sleep and steady flow. Berries to build an antioxidant fortress around your prostate. And watermelon, the lycopene leader that can bring relief in less than a day. But here's what 30 years of practice has taught me. Knowledge without action is just trivia. The men who get their lives back aren't the ones who know the most. They're the ones who start. So let me make this simple for you. Tomorrow morning, before coffee, before the news, before the day's obligations crowd in, do this. Squeeze half a lemon into warm water and drink it slowly. Eat a cup of watermelon with a handful of almonds. That's it. 2 simple steps that take less than 10 minutes. Do this for 1 week. Just 7 days. Pay attention to how you feel. Notice the small changes. Maybe you sleep an extra hour. Maybe the urgency eases just a bit. Maybe you have a little more energy in the afternoon. These small changes are your body saying, thank you. They're proof that healing is possible, that your best days aren't behind you. I think about all the men I've worked with over the years. Men who thought their bodies had betrayed them. Men who'd quietly accepted that this was just what aging meant. Men who'd given up golf, travel, intimacy, and dreams because their prostates had taken control of their lives. And I think about those same men months later, back on the golf course, planning trips, sleeping soundly next to their wives, living instead of just existing. The difference between those 2 versions of the same man, they decided to try. They chose to believe that their bodies still had the power to heal. They took that first simple step. You're not broken. You're not too old. You're not beyond help. Your body has a remarkable ability to heal when you give it the right tools. These fruits aren't magic. They're medicine that nature has been providing for thousands of years. Your grandfather probably ate these fruits without knowing why they helped. Ancient warriors and sailors discovered their power through trial and error. Now you have the knowledge and the science. All you need is the decision to begin. Start tomorrow. Start with 1 fruit. Build from there. In a month, you'll wonder why you waited so long. In 3 months, you might feel like a different man. In 6 months, you could be living a life you'd almost forgotten was possible. The choice is yours. But I'll tell you what, I tell every man who sits in my office. You've earned the right to feel good again. You've worked hard your whole life. You've taken care of others. Now it's time to take care of yourself. Your stronger chapter isn't someday. It's tomorrow morning, with a simple glass of lemon water and a bowl of watermelon. That's all it takes to begin. Welcome back to the life you deserve.